and welcome to the SABB Question Time here on Westminster University Smoke TV. Not only are we live on Smoke TV, we're also broadcasting live on Smoke Radio. Today is a very exciting time. We're going to be putting your sabbatical officers to the test and finding out what they've been getting up to over the first semester and asking all those questions you want to ask. They pledge, they campaign and they fight. They are, so on my right hand side we've got Muaz Mahmood, who is the Vice President of Regent Campus. We have Khalid Mamouni, who is the Vice President. We have Miriam Hanna, who is the Vice President of the Cavendish Campus, and Rhiannon Gordon, Vice President of Harrow. And we also have JS, who will be joining us very, very shortly. But let's start off by telling you a little bit about what's going on tonight. It's not the usual format. We're not going to just grill them. What we're going to do is the brief overview. Each SAB will step up to the chair and give us 1 minute of how they've been getting on so far, which a minute really isn't that long. And then what we'll do is we'll hand over to the studio audience and also on Twitter and finding out all your different questions. But where would I be without the lovely Jamie Wareham? He is going to be our floor assistant today on the show.
Hey Sophie, thank you very much, and big welcome to everyone listening out there on Smoke Radio today. So I'm going to be in the audience asking questions from all the lovely people that have showed up, but I'm also going to be taking questions on Twitter. So get in touch the whole way through the show. You can do that if you're in the audience as well. Use the hashtag SABBQT and use @smoke_radio as your Twitter handle. Now we're going to jazz up the way tonight's going to work, and I've got a lovely assistant here who has just been nominated to pick the first name out of the hat. So do you want to go for it?
First name is Muaz.
Muaz, you're the first person. Oh, let's give him a big round of applause, everyone. So Muaz is just moving to the hot seat now.
You'll be getting your goals on the screen, if I'm confirmed correctly. And so you're going to tell us, you've got a minute to tell us exactly what you've been getting up to over the first semester. Yeah, it's all to cram in, but then we're going to take the questions from the floor. So we should be getting the thing up now any moment. But yeah, don't forget you can get your questions into us on @smoke_radio. And if you're here on the floor, you can just wave your arm in the air and Jamie will come over to you anyway. So we've got your goals in the air. Let's go. You've got a minute.
All right, here we go. So we'll start from the top, recorded lectures. We've managed to get a pilot with that. The module code is Ethnic and International Relations. So hopefully we're going to get a few more pilots done by the next semester, and it'll be across the whole of the, hopefully, politics department. Moving on, faster room booking service. That one's been a tricky one so far because the university haven't really budged with that, but we're looking to increase the pressure on the university, and because there are some societies that feel that their room booking the responses aren't coming in time. So that moves me on to the third one, more one-on-one sessions with dissertation supervisors. That one I'm currently in talks with the Dean and the manager of SSHL about that one. SU office or presence in the Little Titchfield Street campus. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the office, but we're keeping a good presence at the moment. So we've been there twice so far this semester. We've got the campaign.
Okay. So yeah, that's great. Let's go to the question. Sorry to cut you off there, but sorry. But we've got only a quick minute. So Jamie, questions.
That minute went really quickly, didn't it? There's so much to fit into there. Hopefully we can get some questions there. So who has a question for Muaz? Excellency, one over the back here. If you could introduce yourself and then tell us your question.
I'm Anna. Muaz, the old cinema has been sold to a private company. What is the benefit for students?
Okay, so the benefit for that would be that students that are studying film or media get to showcase their talents, and hopefully they're going to be able to work with the private company. But with the old cinema or the new old cinema, it's still really early talks. I haven't got I'm not working it myself, but I'm liaising with the woman Rosemary, who's the project manager for that. So there's nothing concrete at the moment. It might not be a private company. It might still stay with the university, and they'll have students in charge of that, but it's too early to tell.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, any other questions for Muaz? Yeah, we've got one here.
I'm Shimon. You're the VP for Region and LTS. So how have you managed to unite students from both buildings?
And we're acronym busters on the Punk and Politics show, so LTS is Little Titchfield Street.
Yes. No, that's a good question. I remember being asked that last year in the debate, and I think it's crucial. The priority as the Vice President is to unite the students together, and I'd like to say that we've been doing good with that in terms of our events. We had 2 really big events this semester, and we've got one more next week. So that was the Eid party, which attracted 200 students from all 3 sites. You're forgetting Wall Street. And we had the open mic, which was on Friday, which was a huge success. Not only did it bring students from Little Titchfield Street and Wall Street, it also brought students from other campuses. So yeah, that's been really good. We've also got the Culture Fest. Make sure you guys all come to that. That's going to be next Tuesday, where it's going to be an event for students to share their cultures, and it should be really good. We should have a really big turnout, and should unite students together.
Muraz, your favourite person at the open mic night, was there a particular performer you enjoyed?
It's probably the last one because it's stuck to my head most. No, sorry, no.
We just had a wave in the
one.
audience there, so.
The one before, MC Osama. Yeah, no, not you. Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions for Muraz then? Oh, stunning silence. Oh, we've got one at the front there. So just skip to the front and speak to...
Hi, I'm Elliot. In your election manifesto, you say that one of your campaign goals was to fight against the censorship for societies and students. Where is that currently? What are you doing about that? So how are you fighting against censorship?
Well, like I said, actually, this is my goals. How can I say? My refurbished manifesto goals for this year. So before the semester started, I produced this, which is my main one. But in terms of the fight for that, I mean that will go on, and will help campaign. And our priority is the students, 100%, and especially
it doesn't really answer my question. It was how are you doing it?
Well, sorry, repeat the question.
So how are you fighting? How is the fight against censorship going? Like, how are you doing it? You just said that you are doing it.
Well, last year there was a group of students in Regent campus that managed to put up a really good fight with the university, and they managed to move the room booking what was it called, the room booking procedures from bottom of the priorities list up to 4th, but that needs to keep going. We need to continue this fight against it, and I'm going to ensure that I can do everything I can to do that.
And that would obviously include allowing all groups of all persuasions, regardless of their agendas, to promote material on Westminster grounds.
Of course, we support any group of students to promote anything they want. Of course, that's our job as the student union.
Yeah, and that
officers.
And excuse me for bringing it up, but that obviously includes Hizbut Tahrir.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about them?
Yeah, that includes you're allowed to promote that. That's not.
Well, the Global Idea Society, they're a registered society of the student union. So.
Yep.
So you're being a bit vague. What about?
Could you just explain who Hizbut Tahrir for listeners that aren't sure?
Well, okay. Admittedly, Westminster hasn't signed on to the National Union of Students manifesto, which has banned groups basically, and that's one of them. So, how do we feel that they're allowed to be active and available on the University of Westminster?
Well, as long as they're approved by the university itself, then as a student union, we can't really stop the students from venting their freedom of speech, and that's the job of the university itself to stop them. So I'm afraid I can't be of any help.
No, that's great. Thank you very much for your question, Elliot, and thank you very much for your time, Muraz. So now, shall we get the next SABB up? Yeah, back over to you, Jamie. So
we got. Do you know what? I'm gonna take the hat and get it to be passed one row back. Can we? There we go. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mahmouda.
And you are picking. feel like we should have had some drum roll sound effects. For
Khalid.
Khalid, you're next in the hot seat. Give him a round of applause, everyone.
So you're
everyone.
the president.
I am indeed.
Yeah, and well, we're just about to get your
Goals and
manifesto, your goals up. And you'll have just a minute just to quickly, briefly run through a list of key points that you've been working on this semester.
Sounds cool.
And remember, at any point you can tweet in at @smoke_radio with #SABBQT tonight. And also at @smoke_magazine are live tweeting this evening. So if you want to follow there, you can as well.
And we're still waiting for the your manifesto. Do you know your points?
I do. Hope everyone remembers them.
Okay.
But, I can start. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. The first 3 months, what I've been working on. One of the things I sort of ran on. I didn't run on a policy. Was something I recently sort of introduced, and I'm working along with the Deputy Vice Chancellor Ricky on a project called the Learning Futures, which has been running for the past year or so. But I proposed an idea ahead and forward, and it was it's called an academic support centre. The whole purpose of this was to what I told them is let's basically provide a platform for students to receive certificates for them to become tutors. So where you have third years who are excelling in their studies, 2-1s or first, will be able to become tutors, and then that way they can sort of tutor second years who are struggling in that particular module. So the whole point is under umbrella of academic support, but also peer-assisted learning as such. So that's one of my policies, which I just reintroduced, or sort of a new idea which I came up with. The second one was Let's Go. I ran on it last year, and the whole point of it is to university has been traditionally in terms of alcohol and party, but also recognise that we have students that don't necessarily want to do that on a regular basis or don't necessarily drink. So we have to make sure we're a very diverse university, so we have to make sure that we provide for all sorts of students. So one of the things. Is that a minute?
Yeah, it's a minute. It goes really quick, doesn't it? See, I did suggest that we had like a countdown clock because then you seem to speed it up. But so shall we go over to Jamie for some questions for the main man, Khalid?
Important questions. Can I get some hands up of who wants to ask a question so I can get a rough idea of how many there is expecting to be? 2 or 3. Okay, cool. First of all.
Hello, my name's Bridget Didge. Okay, just to sort of follow on from the last questions that I was asked by to Muaz. Obviously, you've got to consider freedom of speech, but also you have to think about freedom from harm in terms of some external speakers. Do you not think that we need a policy that sort of covers both so that some of the tensions that have been rising recently sort of stop and the uni doesn't get any more bad press?
And I'm guessing for those that don't know the story, that refers to the Islamic Society inviting Haitham al-Haddad, who has views on homosexuality.
I mean, there's no one answer for this. It's a massive discussion which is happening on a national scale also. But what I would say as student union president and as a student union, I think, and we released a statement saying this, is that the university offers a unique sort of opportunity for students to be able to discuss ideas, share beliefs and whatnot. As a requirement from a student union president and a student union is to make sure this happens in a safe environment. And understand that there are sensitivities. Of course, all of our students have different views and sort of lean towards political parties or religious groups. But it goes back to a point of saying that we're at university where if you disagree with a particular view, you have to have the platform where, as a student union, provide that safe platform, but for you to be able to challenge it. And I'm going to give an example, and sort of I hope did just answer your question and tell me if it doesn't, but if we take, for example, the BNP, Nick Griffin, who I believe is someone to be a fascist at the very least, he was invited on BBC Question Time when he ran for the general election or in general election period. But he was given an opportunity to present his views, and a lot of people either disagreed or completely disagreed and went that he's a fascist, but some people agreed with him. But the whole purpose or the whole point of sort of inviting him on a national sort of TV channel was so that you can either, one, accept him, or number two, which the majority of people did, was actually expose him for who he really was. So there you go. It offers an opportunity for you to, if you disagree with a particular speaker or whatnot, we have an opportunity to challenge them, and that's what I would say. Having said that, I understand that there are sensitivities, and I believe that we do as a student union, as a university, sort of, it's very difficult to strike the balance, but goes back to saying we do our best to provide sort of a safe environment for any student to sort of object to these particular views at the very least.
Any chances to do any debating, or it's just sort of been speakers coming in, and something that some students have been trying to organise is a debate, but they feel like they're not being supported in doing that. How would you sort of
I mean, we've sort of spoken personally about this issue, and I mean, as a student union, like, and every single sabbatical officer will also say the same. Like, all our offices are open, we're available like 24. I literally say 24 hours a day, like, because literally students Facebook me and whatnot with their concerns, and I do my best to respond and whatnot. But literally, as a student union, we're open. Like, if anyone does sort of, and I'm assuming you speak on behalf of the LGBT society or not.
Like, not just
in general,
the LGBT society, but other
in general for the concerns.
Like students who aren't just in the LGBT society.
Well, we'll take, for example, of course, anyone that has an objectionable sort of view to any particular issue, the opportunities are there. And if you do propose to us or something in terms of a debate or an idea, we will do our best to sort of cater for that without hesitation. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Khaled. That was great. Thank you. Jamie, would you like to pick the next name out of the hat?
Yeah, we're going to pass it one more back again. So we are. There we go. And can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Ikram.
Excellent. And who have you picked out of the hat to go next in the hot seat?
Jay.
Oh no, Jay's still not here. Were you? Oh, we here? Excellent, Jay. You are next. Give him a big clap. Apologies for that. You must have snuck in while I wasn't looking. Remember, you can get in touch all night at @smoke_radio using the hashtag SABBQT.
So we've got Jayesh in the hot seat now. You're the Vice President of the Marylebone campus. Do you want to have, you've got a minute, a very short amount of time, just to run through a few of the goals that you've been working on in the first semester here at the university?
I'll try my best to get through as many as I can in a minute. So first of all, I'll start with the big one, which is semester 1 exams. So that's the big one that we've been working on with my team and with the SSAs and myself. The next one is accreditation of extracurricular activities, which was one of Khalid's points that has now been seen on in higher committees and stuff. So it is being worked on for the students as well. There's also the social area, which has been put off for a year. We've got a 3D digital workshop coming in on Marylebone campus, where we did initially want to put the social area, but it's for the short term, it's going to be changed into a 3D digital workshop for the ABE students of Marylebone. There's other campaigns that we've been running on. So we have the lockers as well that's coming into Marylebone, that may be coming in, so we've got to campaign for that as well, for the lockers, and hopefully smoking area as well to be moved from the front of campus to somewhere else, but we're still waiting on university to agree or disagree on whether they're changing the policy or not.
Okay, well, thank you for your points there. Has anybody got any questions for Jayesh about the points that he's raised?
Got one there. I'm going to scoot on up. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Alice. I'm representing the LGBT Society at Didge and Blethin. Just following on from a point what Bridget said. In recent years, there's been a lack of or no liberation officers representing students in the SU, such as black students and LGBT students and disabled students. And I'd just like to ask why that is, especially as I believe it's part of the SU constitution. And I'd also like to ask if there's any plan for you to address this coming year.
Great, so there's a SU constitution question there. Liberation officers.
Well, we have, the only way I can answer that is it's only just come the new Sabbatical Officers only just come to our attention now, as we wasn't previously involved in the SU. With the trainings and all the other conferences that we've been to, we have been aware that different institutions work in different ways. So now that it is on our radar, we've got students coming forward like yourself, and we've seen how other institutions work. There is ways in which we can implement their strategies here as well, but we're just looking into how we can do that at the moment. So we haven't got a plan at the moment to.
Has anybody got any questions from the points on the board that would like to ask Jayesh?
Obviously, which is where Jayesh is remit particularly is. Anything about the social spaces? Nope. Okay then. Any other questions that you'd like to ask Jayesh? All right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've got planned coming up in the next semester for Marylebone?
So for next semester, what we've got working at Marylebone, we have the WBS, which is Westminster Business School, and ABE, which is Architecture and Building Environment. So at the moment, there's no integration within the campus. So what we're hoping to do with the SSAs is hold an event which brings both faculties together as well as one, whether it be students or staff. And also we've got the Vintage Fair happening at Marylebone as well, which previously happened at Harrow, and as it was a large success, we said why not bring it to our campus where other students will be interested as well. And we also have a lot more things going on throughout the year as well, like campaign-wise.
I found another question in the audience for you, Jess.
I'm Saspo. I wanted you to elaborate on the Getting Capped Up 40 modules.
So that's the Getting Capped Up 40 modules. Could you elaborate?
I think that's something we've worked on, well, Miriam worked on last year. So it was where previously students were capped on their module that they maybe failed once. They would have been capped as a whole, whereas now it's only the assessment that they failed. They will only get capped on that rather than the whole module as a whole, if I'm correct.
There.
Yep.
Excellent. Should we give them a round of applause?
Okay, thank you very much, Jayesh. Next to the hot seat, it'll be one of the ladies, but
is there any other questions there for Jayesh? Oh, excellent! There's one over here. I'm going to scoot round the back and oh my gosh, it's like a jungle. Here we go. Right, question 4.
Hi, Alex Matthew John, Westminster Business School and Westminster Business Consultants as well. I just want to ask about your semester 1 exams. How far are you along with that, and in the process of that? Because it's a big issue within that. A lot of us in the business school, we have modules in the first semester and we don't have the exams till the end of the second. So how far along are you with that, and what is your next steps for that, essentially?
Obviously, that was a big topic in the run-up to the elections this year. So how are you getting on with the semester 1 campaign?
So we've had a lot of meetings from the start of the year since I came into the post, and literally from probably 2-3 weeks ago, the university have now got something called Learning Futures, which is where they redo the whole curriculum every 5 years. It happens, but this year is the year where they change it around. So they've literally just started, and there's now been people put in place to run Learning Futures as a whole. So the ideas we've put forward to them, they've got to sit down and consider, and we've got the students back in and most of the staff as well to do that, to say they want semester 1 exams. So in terms of next steps, it's literally just started. So from here till March, I think it will be being pushed, and then hopefully it should come in from September next year, if it does get put through the push of students as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Jayesh.
Alrighty, I'm going to skip back round to find out who is next to us. Between Rianne and Miriam, I can sure their nerves are high. Do you want to introduce yourself and let us know who you've picked?
My name is Mohammed Shabir, and I've got Rianne.
Rianne is up next. Take the hot seat. So remember, you can get in touch at any point this evening at @smoke_radio. And if you're wondering, if you've just tuned in, we're we're live at the SABB Question Time debate. Over to you, Sophie.
So you've got a minute just to go through your quick points and just let us know what you've been getting up to over the first semester.
Okay, so in the summer, I, with the help of the comms team, which were a massive help, created the digital prospectus, working on got the water fountains on campus. Forum is going to be open later throughout the night rather than the A block entrance. We're going to get the shop open on the weekend. Hosted the first vintage fair. We're going to do a Christmas unplugged performance type thing in the forum. The SSAs have a World AIDS Day event going on tonight, so make sure you go.
Sorry, we've got to stop you there. That was a minute up. Back to Jamie with the questions.
Yeah, lots of things going on at Harrow, lots of successes there already with the water fountains as well, keeping me quenched whilst I'm in the library. Any questions for Rianne? We've got one at the front there.
Hi, Rianne. How's the campaign for the longer studio hours going? Obviously, it's a big topic for a lot of art students, so where is that at in terms of development?
I was just about to say that as well before I got cut off. I've actually been speaking to Michael Tyndale, head of Smoke Radio, and he's hopefully going to get Smoke Radio to help back with their petition signing for longer studio hours, as well as the SABBs. And also, I've been talking to the heads of department and at every committee that I'm at. So it's already something that I'm hoping to start. I'm hoping to get it active before, well, this side of Christmas. But if not, then as soon as we get back after Christmas. I think what's most likely is that it will be studio hour. What I'm pushing for most is to get the studio hours open closer to deadlines, because a lot of the lecturers have been saying that although they're open quite late now, students don't really use them as much as they're kind of expressing that they need to. So yes, getting closer to the deadlines is most feasible, I think.
Okay, thank you. And
any other questions for Rhiannon? Oh,
questions?
another one here at the front.
Hi, I'm Sarah. It's just not just entirely aimed at you, but obviously because Smoke Radio is based at Harrow, I was just wondering sort of why, when it was agreed last year in the students' AGM as well as the communications meetings, why Smoke Radio's budget has actually been cut this year when it was meant to be exactly the same as last year, if not more.
The students' union have been cut in comparison to last year. It's not as if we haven't aimed it at any particular area at all, and I understand that this is something that may have kind of disheartened Smoke Radio slightly, and which is why I've been pushing most for Smoke Radio to show support, which is why I got Smoke Radio in halls. I'm working on Smoke Radio in the refectory, not just at Harrow, but at all of the campuses, and that's halls in Harrow and Marylebone, so we are trying to push and support you guys as much as we can, as well as the anniversary that we thought was going to be this year, but which I was really rooting for, but it's next year, so couldn't do much. Yeah.
Smoke Radio is only 9, not 10. Does that answer your question? Ish, do you want to elaborate, or is that?
Shall we?
Okay then. Is there any other questions from the audience that we want to ask any further? I can't see any particular hands rising. Anyone in particular? Remember, you can get in touch on Twitter at @smoke_radio. Oh, I see a question. Excellent.
Okay. So Harrow were quite far out. What things were you doing to kind of engage us with the other campuses, trying to get us involved? It's like a big one university.
What's really upsetting is that there's so much that Harrow has to offer, but given the fact that it's kind of far in comparison to all the other campuses, no one really tends to want to travel to Harrow. And what I really want is for students, rather than getting everyone from Harrow to go to Central, which kind of makes sense because that's where everyone is, I want to try and encourage more students to come to Harrow. And how I intend to do that is having more events on campus and working hopefully with the other SSA teams as well that I can see in the crowd. Yeah. I think what would be best to have more collaborative ventures with the SSAs as well as the fans to encourage a lot more participation and engagement at Harrow, rather than kind of wasting the really amazing resources and facilities that we have here and just going elsewhere.
We've had our first tweet question, so thanks very much for getting in touch. Obviously another library geek out there. The question is, are we going to get toilets in the library anytime soon?
I wasn't aware that was an issue. It's first
This tweeter out there. Is that something that you might choose to champion after winning the water cancelling campaign?
I will take that question on board, and I will look at if they want to come into the office sometime. Then we can talk about it a bit more. No one has actually ever mentioned that before. It's always been the kind of distance from water fountains and the fact that the shop isn't open. So that has never been on my radar until now. If the general consensus of the students is the toilets aren't close enough, then I'll see if we can do something. I mean, obviously, there are still redevelopment plans that are kind of going to be happening soon at Harrow, so maybe it's something that we could consider adding to that as well.
Okay,
excellent.
Well, thank you very much, Rhiannon. Round of applause. And I don't think we need to pick it out of a hat. Miriam, would you like to step up?
Oh gosh, really swimming.
Just about to get, yeah, I know.
Oh, is it up here?
Yeah, here's your lovely presentation. I'd just like to have a minute to run through.
Okay, so a minute's not very long, but some of the great things we've managed to do this semester so far is we've got 2 ground floor computer labs which are now open 24 hours with the library, which is really good news. We did a fantastic mental health campaign in October. We'll also be lobbying the university to do more to look at their policy when particularly around the academic regulations and the impact that has on students who suffer with mental health problems, but also we want to support the university fighting stigma against mental health. We've also got a lot going on around the course rep system and student engagement. We've had loads of great events on campus, so we've had movie nights and other networking events. We've got a lot of campaigns coming up for personal tutoring. So myself and Rhiannon are working hard to make sure the personal tutor system is standardised across all the campuses. We've also got a lot of work coming up to do with women in leadership. I'm also very excited that we're hosting Student Pride in February. So we'll be hopefully getting on board with the LGBT Society to do some campaigns around fighting stigma and discrimination coordination there as well. And I think that's pretty much it. Rattled through really quickly.
In a minute, like,
We should give Miriam a round of applause there for hitting a minute. Excellent. Well, do we have any questions from the floor? Oh, excellent. One over here. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Mohammed Shabir. I participated in the e-mentoring scheme the previous year, and I found it really useless and not rewarding. And so you said you were going to bring out a new scheme. I was wondering what that was and how it would benefit in correlation to the previous one.
Okay, so one of the things that, like Khaled mentioned as well earlier, peer-assisted learning is a fantastic scheme that loads of universities do in very different ways. And it's the idea that students support other students. We don't need other tutorials, we don't need other lectures and seminars. There needs to be a platform created where students can help support other students. And by that, I don't mean teach them. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the e-mentoring scheme was more along the lines of actual support related to like content of modules. So that's where it can go slightly wrong, because students are still students. So you can't necessarily ask students to teach. They're not there to be extra lecturers. What the peer-assisted learning scheme is there to do is to build community and build support and realise that we've got a very diverse student population and there are different methods of getting through that university experience because it is a big transition. So providing a space for students to come together and talk to each other about their first assessment. What did you do when you got back your first essay and you got feedback scrawled on it? What did you do with that feedback? Did it actually help you improve for the next assessment, or was it illegible, you couldn't read it? So it's very I don't want to say generic because that's maybe negative, but it is quite generic. It's quite broad, and it's supposed to support students within faculties and sort of on the big core modules of every year to help build a community.
Okay, I was just trying to clarify that it supersedes the previous one and the contribution that it makes. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. We've got another question just here. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kanyi. I just wanted you to elaborate. I think you mentioned something about campaign about more women in power or something like that. Yeah. Could you kind of elaborate on what the point is and how you are planning to doing something like that?
So there's kind of two stages to this campaign. The first is because I'm in the Faculty of Science and Technology at Cavendish. Woo! We have a very sort of male-dominated profession that lots of women are trying to get into. And I really want to try and empower as many women as possible to go into these careers which are seen as male-dominated. So there's some fantastic organisations called STEMETS, so Science, Technology, Engineering and Maths, trying to get more women into those careers. And there's also Lady Geek and loads of others. The second half of that campaign is trying to go across the university. So last year when we had our sabbatical officer elections, there were, including the NUS delegates, maybe about 19 candidates and maybe only 6 women, which is shocking. So definitely want to try and outreach as much as possible and get as many candidates running in the elections, obviously full stop, but also many, many more women, because I think me and Rianne do an all right job, so I don't see why other girls can't do the same.
I'm getting a question through my little ear.
Okay.
Is the science fair coming back?
Yes, it is. 13th and 14th of February, Science Festival in Westminster. So we normally do it an opening comedy night on the Thursday night and then a full day fair the next day with work exhibited from our students, from our staff, but also we do a bit of a cake sale and hopefully we'll do some Wear It Pink to fundraise for the Against Breast Cancer lab that we have upstairs in this very building.
And is it just students who study science that can get involved with that?
No, we like everyone, which is why we do it comedy. Because we're trying to make science accessible by making it funny, because we're geeks, but we can be funny too. So come along, everybody.
Okay, that's lovely. Big round of applause. And you can stay in the hot seat if you like,
I'll stay here.
rather than nice and squashing in over there. So now, moving on and moving forward, what do you guys, as a team or in your each individual campuses, have coming up next? So, draw.
Whatever students tell us they want next.
Okay, shall we have a quick run through campus to campus of what you're going to work on next semester, and then go to have some random overall questions? Yeah.
Well, the first thing that I'm going to be working on from So the first thing I'm going to be working on from January onwards is probably with ABE, so showcasing ABE work. So a lot of students on the Marylebone campus study architecture and business environment, but yet they're not known for that because it's just known for business. So we're bringing ABE from the third floor, we're bringing it down to the learning platform to make sure students know that there is architecture and building environment students there. So we're working on something to showcase the work on the learning platform.
Sorry. So I'm going to be continuing on with the kind of campaign for longer studio hours, as well as the website that I'm working on at the moment, which has the working title of Westminster Portal / Inspired by Westminster, and that's basically a platform, an online platform where students get to showcase their work, which will be piloted at Harrow campus. And I'm currently stuck on a name for it, so if anyone has any suggestions, then please do send them to me. And also MadFest. Last year there was some feedback by students that said that they wanted it to be early in the year, a bit bigger and better. So I'm going to work with the lecturers to see what we can do for that.
And so Khalid, your £100 idea. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Well, the £100 idea stemmed really from the student union traditionally would go out and sort of have focus groups and surveys and whatnot. So I thought, why not keep it sort of in a different sort of shape? And the whole point of it is to, one, get feedback from students, because a lot of sort of the work that the student union does has to be feedback from students, and whether that's criticism or issues that they're facing. So the £100 idea was just an incentive really for the student that submits a really, really good idea in terms of how we can improve the community cohesion within our university. But that's one project. In terms of other projects I'm working for next semester, one will be to start the petitions for the 24-hour student kitchen. That was something I ran under last sort of manifesto point last year, and something I'm really keen about. And I know all the sabbatical teams and all the sabbatical officers are sort of behind it also. Two was the sort of an entrepreneurial sort of idea. One, it's called the pitch, and the whole point of that, or the purpose of that, is any student who has an idea, and please don't mix up with a £100 idea, but we've got a budget of £2,000, and students can bid for a maximum of £250. Whether that's a sports team, a society, an individual, and the whole point is, if you've got an idea that can benefit your community or will benefit the student experience, then you can also just, similar to that of Dragons Den, you can submit an idea, come and pitch it in front of a panel of 3, and then if it gets accepted, then you get your money and walk away and you make that project happen. That's one of them. And then also, last but not least, is running a health and fitness or health and well-being campaign for a whole week. And also, we know sort of health is wealth, as they like to say, so it'll be a whole week of fitness tips, exercises and whatnot, free massages. No, I'm joking. But the whole point is to give advice to students on how they manage stress and whatnot whilst they're revising, so that's the whole purpose.
Well, something similar to the Dragons Den idea, but it's the rival show Apprentice. I'm looking to introduce, and Jay's going to help me out with this, and Khalid, a new initiative called the Westminster Business Challenge, where basically it's like a mini version of the Apprentice. With a set of challenges and a set of it's like a little mini competition, 2 teams against each other. Battle it out in challenges they battle it out in challenges against each other, and through, of course, business challenges. But this is open to anyone, not just business students. And I'm really passionate about this because I used to be an economics student. So yeah, that's the reason why. And of course, at the end there'll be a prize for the winners and a recognised certified qualification from the University of Westminster Business School. And hopefully this will be something that will go on and on every year, and we'll just keep improving with whoever takes our place.
Okay, thank you very much. And Miriam.
Okay, so obviously everyone's aware that we've had a transition in this campus where we've got one faculty now. One of the things I want to make sure I do over next semester is make sure that the transition from psychology in Regent Street to this site is as smooth and as seamless as possible. There's a lot of discussions, a lot of conversations that have gone on behind the scenes, and I'm really happy that I've been a part of those, but I want to make sure that that is always sort of a priority for the university, what they're doing is, and what the impact on students will be. Also working hard on the personal tutor stuff and the persisted learning stuff, because that's really important. But above anything else, one of the things I really want to do next semester is drive up the election buzz, get as many candidates running. I want it to feel really accessible. I want anyone to think that they can run and they can do this job, because it's a fantastic job. I think everyone will agree. It's such a highlight. And also driving up the election turnout and getting students really engaged with their union and sort of seeing the impact it can have if you get behind it.
Okay, lovely, thank you. And I believe we've got some questions from Twitter over with Jamie.
We do indeed, and Sarah's asked one that comes really nicely off the back of that one. She's asked, do you think the change from the VP of Comms to the VP of Sites and other such sabbatical changes has been a really good move? Has it been positive?
I feel that it has. I feel that we've been there's lots of challenges associated, but overall, I think it's been really good to be accessible to students. So it doesn't matter which campus you study at, you have an SU presence there. Even LTS in Wales, there's someone trying to get there, someone trying to engage the students there. So I think it's been really positive, and I think we've gotten a much wider variety of students engaged with the activities, and it's not like limited or focused in any way.
Great. And also on Twitter, Alice has said she loves the idea of water fountains in Harrow. Is that coming to Regent Street as well?
It's already in Regent Street. I was about to say that. It's on the 2nd and 3rd floor. I know. Basically, there's a. It should be in the deep end in the old gym, but the building is so old. Apparently, they can't do it because the pipes are old or something. It's just physically impossible. So if you're on the 2nd and 3rd floor, please go to them. Because we're doing Campus Awareness Week, and people are really surprised by this, but this is something that's just been installed, so please go to them.
Okay, great. I'm just going to come back to a couple of the questions that we've kind of already spoke about, but people have asked again. So someone else is tweeting about the LGBT stuff. They said, this great opportunity for students to ask you questions. Why don't you think more students are here? Oh, sorry, that's not an LGBT question at all. That's better, though, because it's a new question.
The room was confirmed quite late. So it's nobody's fault. It's not a cynical thing. That's why we've tried to make it as multimedia as possible, I guess, and have fantastic Smoke Radio broadcasting, woo, and Smoke Magazine over there tweeting away, and everyone's sort of contributing to make sure it's accessible. But I would say to anyone, you don't have to be in the room to contribute. We're hoping this debate will continue after we've finished recording, so you're not missing out much, don't worry.
And any more last questions?
Yeah, so now I've got that LGBT question in front of me. Whoops-a-daisy. So someone's asked, Harrow seems to be the most LGBT-friendly campus. Why do you think that is?
I think maybe that's just because of the discipline of the disciplines at Harrow campus. They tend to attract an LGBT community as well as a really fun and vibrant community. But so I think that's I think that's got something to do with it.
And one of the other things that someone's picked up on Twitter, they didn't really feel like the budget question was asked around Smoke Radio. Is anyone able to address that further?
I feel like I maybe should address it because I'm the crossover from last year to this year. We were making arrangements at the AGM meeting based on a budget that we submitted to the university, and we didn't get that money from them. So that's why everyone had to take cuts. Smoke Radio, Smoke TV, like all across the board, everyone's had to take the brunt of it slightly. But I would say that I think we've done really, really well on that. And I think, fingers crossed, we'll be submitting for some more money this year for the university for next academic year. So it was simply because we were budgeting for something at the time of the AGM, which we didn't end up getting, because obviously there was that compromise we had to have with the university.
Okay, and any final questions?
More from the room? Oh, there's a couple. Quick question.
Sorry. This is for Rianne. I didn't get a chance to ask you while your points were up. You had on there that you're trying to invite more industry representatives, I don't remember what the exact point was, to events. And I'm trying to just find out, have you been able to do that so far? Because you have quite a broad campus. You have fashion, you have media, you have the music. So is that something that's plausible for you to do?
I have actually been working with the lecturer that set up the Creative Careers Fair in conjunction with the annual Careers Fair. And I spoke to a lot of the employers that came then on that day, and they were really happy to get on board and come to an event at Harrow campus, which was why I've been working on MadFest as well, because I was hoping to combine them and to have them at MadFest. But there's been a lot of kind of compromises I've been having to make. So I'm hoping to organise a TEDx event. But at the moment, I'm waiting for kind of suggestions from the students on what kind of topic or idea they want the TEDx event to be focused on, because I don't want it to be something that I decide. I want it to be something that the students decide. So I'm hoping to bring in professionals then, and that'll be a really great event, as well as any other event that I can host throughout the year.
Another question over here in the room. Sorry, I don't want to cut people off, but press for time.
Yeah, sorry to bring up the budget issue again. Obviously, you've got a website. On your website, there is a document which basically lists a budget. I'm not sure when it was written, but it does say 2013 to 14 is budgeted as Smoke Magazine having 14 grand, Smoke Radio and TV sharing 7,500. Now, obviously, what they're actually receiving is significantly less. The QH is 28,500 as well. I'm not sure what they're receiving. If this is still on your website and it is still as the budgeted, why has this not been changed, and why is the current budget not up? And if it's not, can we please have access to it, because that is in the memorandum that the student union has signed.
I don't know why it's not up, to be honest. It should be, but that's probably completely our fault and probably a big technical... I don't know why it's not up yet. The new one should be up. It should be accessible to you.
On your key documents, nothing from this year
has gone up.
Okay,
I'm going to chase that up because it should be. To be
Awesome.
honest.
So that'll be up soon. There you go.
Miriam, you spoke quite a lot about getting more people involved in the elections next year. What kind of structures are you going to put in place to make sure that some of the things that happened last year aren't going to happen again, and people that do get involved with the elections are not going to come out of it feeling bullied or feeling sort of as if they've had a really bad experience from it?
Well, obviously, there's a lot of discussion going on in the trustee board, like others pitch in. We have a trustee board which the elections has been an item on our agenda now for probably about the last 6 months consistently for various reasons. And a lot of it now is planning for next year and taking feedback from what we sort of learnt from this year being the first time we had online voting. So that was a proper learning experience for us. And I think those discussions are ongoing. They're not finished yet, but we do... Like the entire time, the emphasis like that all of us are trying to place on the rest of the board members is accessibility to as many students as possible and providing a good experience. So there's lots of decisions that we're being discussed at the moment, which we can't talk about yet, but hopefully a few meetings down the line, maybe 1 or 2 meetings down the line, in the minutes that are released, you'll be able to see some decisions we've made to make the elections sort of a clean and happy experience. I don't know if anyone else wants to pitch in.
As someone directly affected to part of an election process that was quite shambles, like Miriam said, reiterating, like we are working quite hard in our in our trustee meeting to make sure that the procedures that we do put in place are, 1, fair, but number 2, so fairness in terms of discriminate anyone so anyone can run, but 2, make sure that it's accessible and everyone, any person could run without fear, like you said, of being scared or want to intimidate from the election process.
More women candidates this year, please, is the message from these guys. Is there any other questions in the room? No, it looks like you guys have questioned us out. Thank you very much for listening to
So let's
Smoke
give a
Radio.
massive round of applause to the SABBs today. Wonderful, thank you very much. And a big thank you to Smoke TV for letting us host it today. And Smoke Radio for being here. Smoke Magazine as well. And you can find all the content. It will be up on the YouTube very, very soon. And yeah, so big thank you for joining us, the studio audience.
Thank you, everybody.